Gus Malzahn, the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, Cam's offensive coordinator when Cam was a superstar at Auburn and won the Heisman Trophy and led Auburn to a national championship. Gus Malzahn has some interesting comments and perhaps a message of warning and inspiration to NFL teams, saying this about Cam Newton: I've seen that look before. He's got something to prove. He's determined. Whoever gets him better buckle up. That's Gus Malzahn, head coach at Auburn, Cam's former offensive coordinator at Auburn when he won a national championship and Heisman Trophy. And I remember that season well. Cam Newton was motivated. He was focused. There was a lot of heat on him from the media, and it brought out the best in Cam Newton. There were all those people that Cam's father took a payoff, and Cam Newton's a bad kid, and he did something bad at Florida, and they ran him out of there. And that did focus and inspire Cam to one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen in college football. Gus Malzahn predicting we may see that again in the NFL. But the question is, and we'll start with you, Marcellus, can Cam Newton be Super Cam again? Do you buy what Gus Malzahn is selling here?
Absolutely, he will be Super Cam again. And it's not for the reasons that Gus Malzahn is speaking of, seeing that look before, that look in his eyes. I usually like my pancakes with less syrup on it when it comes to like this whole conversation of complexion. You're motivated because look at him. That's not how the game goes. It's not based on his social media. It's not based on the look in the eye of the tiger. It's not based on what a former coach even says about Cam Newton. The thing that we all need to bank on is the fact that Cam Newton responds to adversity well. Look at his history. This is a guy who's always risen from the ashes. If you go back to his scam and incident that happened at Florida with the computers and having to go to a junior college and succeed in there, 1 year at Auburn, 1 year to go out there and win the national championship, Heisman, first overall pick. Cam Newton, car accident, whatever you want to call it. Cam Newton responds well to adversity. So before we get caught up in the complexion of how it looks and what Cam Newton is doing, how about we just know who Cam Newton is? Somebody that if you're knocked down, you better run because he's going to get up and he's coming back for you. So I believe in Super Cam once again.
Man, I like what you're saying, but it just takes me, I'm going to give you a date, March 23rd. March 23rd was when Ron Rivera, the only head coach that Cam Newton has known, traded for Kyle Allen. Oh, and then March 24th, Cam Newton was released. So you don't think in that call, in the process of trying to trade for Kyle Allen, they didn't say, hey, we're going to release Cam tomorrow. You want to trade for him? The fact that the only head coach that Cam Newton has had didn't want him, and you have a rookie quarterback in Dwayne Haskins who hasn't proven himself, that gives me cause to pause. Yeah, Cam looks the part, but he's going to have to be the part. And the fact that Ron Rivera, in essence, just basically said no, that concerns me. We all have it here, but actually going out there and doing it is a different thing. And the fact that Ron Rivera isn't interested, that kind of slows me down. And I believe that's why everybody else is slowed down. And do we really want Cam? His only head coach didn't want him.
I think the other element to this, again, is Cam's age at age 30. Look, I used to respond well to adversity in my 20s. I used to be able to go out, tie one on, and rebound the next day and come back like nothing ever happened. The reason why I'm such a boring person now is because if I tie one on, it takes me 2 or 3 days, if not 2 or 3 weeks, to recover. And so Cam Newton in NFL years at age 30, given his injuries, again, he does have a great history of responding to adversity. But adversity at age 30, when you've had shoulder surgery, you've had this foot injury, your confidence has taken a beating from around the league and just your peers. And just what TJ's saying, the only head coach you ever known has no interest in bringing you to the Washington Redskins and trying to win right now. I just think the adversity, if Cam were 25, I'd be right there with Gus Malzahn. But Cam at 30, and with his injury history and the way this league has moved, and I'm just, I think Cam will initially do well wherever he lands. But can he still run a marathon, the 16-game schedule? I'm not so sure.
I think that's unfair to Cam. One, if you're 30 at quarterback, you're really like 23 at other positions. Like, quarterbacks play into their early 40s, mid 40s. We'll see what Tom Brady does. And speaking of Tom Brady, who tore his leg off the bone, it felt like the ACL, reconstructive surgery at the age of 31. Not a single conversation about, oh, he can't return back to form. Older than Cam Newton at that time and still immobile as he is now, as he was then, but not a conversation he can't get back to who he was. And in terms of what TJ is saying about what happened in Washington, you got to understand, one, if you're getting on a new job, you're not going to make critical demands. You're not going to make extreme demands in that moment. You're just happy to get your job in that situation. Two, ownership has invested in Dwayne Haskins, whatever you think of him. So it's going to be hard to insert a Cam Newton to take over a position where you just drafted highly at that same position and you don't know if the guy has the goods. The jury's still out. So I think it was just an impossible situation, not an indictment on Cam Newton so much that Ron Rivera didn't take him. It's just the conditions and circumstances he had to deal with. Cam Newton has given us no evidence that he would ever slow down. As a matter of fact, when he had his new offensive coordinator with Norv Turner, people were saying, uh-oh, that's the end of Cam because he's going to have to play a run-heavy control style of ball, and he's not going to be accurate enough. And Cam went out there and threw his highest completion percentage of his career. Before injury, MVP conversation. I'm just saying, I don't have any evidence that Cam Newton doesn't respond. I don't know where the conversation comes from that he won't respond.
When you look at the teams that Cam can possibly go to on Fox Bet, it's the Jags, it's the Patriots, it's the Redskins, it's the Steelers. Obviously, Cam wants to be a starter. Let's say, for instance, he goes to Jacksonville. Is he going to become Super Cam? Losing franchise. They don't have the weapons around him. So you need everything to align for him to become what he once was. And the teams that could possibly use him, they don't have that. The Patriots, you would assume, with Belichick, would bring the best out of them. They don't seem like they have any interest in signing him. And so you look at the teams that he can go to, regardless if he's Super Cam or not, he has nothing around him to help him. So in essence, it's going to look like Cam Newton can't play. And so that's the thing. When you're in this situation, the good teams don't want or need you, and the bad teams can't help you.
Well, the other thing we got to remember is just who Super Cam was. Super Cam could leap tall buildings with a single bound. Super Cam could run through NFL defenses and take on linebackers and safeties. And so that's why it's just not analogous to Tom Brady. He's immobile. He plays from the pocket. He's not trying to run through the jungle of a defense and survive and act like he's a lion, just like a Ray Lewis or some of these other guys. Super Cam could do it all. Super Cam can't come back at age 30 with his injury history. If he wants to run through and do what Lamar Jackson's doing right now, he can't do it. And that's the problem. That's why I don't think we're going to see a return of Super Cam, because I look at his workouts and he wants to do what Lamar Jackson's doing. I don't think he can do it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.